Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one we're going to be taking a look at Kevin Nash, Big Kev, with his gear. His gear is on this weekend's prize wall, and it is available for 5,000 currency, actually pretty reasonably priced, so I think this video is worth doing. If you don't know how gears work, each gear, doesn't matter what order, adds an ability. One gear with Kevin Nash, any of the three extras, will add 3 extra column breaks. 2 gears will add 150% gem damage, and 3 gears will add 5 move point, 5 starting MP. So if you have 3 gears, this is what he will look like. You need the moment definitely to make him work. It adds a ton. Really the big deal here, so first off, all color gems do 200%, that's not nothing. And then column break gems do 1500%. That's like a 15 times multiply. That's what we're looking for here. So because that's like a 15 times multiply, my opinion on the entourage, well, let me start with the build first. 6 MP choke slam, choose 3 gems to make into column breaks. Big boot, 6 MP, deal 43k damage, make 11 random gems into column breaks. And then sidewalk slam, 55k, choose a 6x1 area to swap into black gems. So because each column break is like a 15 times multiply, I think it's better off to get as many column break gems as possible on the board. So I just went, even though he only generates 1, so you could argue maybe not, I went with Scott Hall. And then we got Farouk for 3. We got Drew for 1 and 40%, or 15%, I'm sorry. And then we have JD McDonough for 3. And if he was gold, it would be black gems do 40% more damage, but he's silver. So we're going to generate a lot of cross breaks, and I'm starting off with no plates because it's really close to being viable without plates, which is kind of interesting. So depending what you have, you might not need as much as you think with the extra gear. So let's take a look. Get out here. We're going to go against Sammy since he doesn't have a column break reversal. I think Steiner, my other normal go-to, does have a column break reversal. In fact, I'm pretty positive he does. This is a horrible board with very few black gems and tons of loot box gems, so this is exactly what you would not want to see. That being said, because it's a 1x6, we want to blow up the whole board. Leaving any column breaks would be bad, so we are going to place it here. But to blow up the whole board, we have to use our choose. This is a very large choose. It takes a while to execute. It is not ideal, right? It's not my favorite. That's a lot of clicking. So yeah, there's that. And then we're just going to drop this on this column, blow up the whole board, and every one of these column breaks, sadly, like I said, a bunch of loot box gems. So it's going to limit our damage potential at silver. We did 19 million without any plates. That would be more like probably about 45 at gold. Let me run it one more time. And you could use column break gem damage instead. I'll run that. I didn't actually load the trainers for that. I want to get a normal board, and just I'll run them both for you guys. A mix rather. So this is much better. 2 loot box gems, ton of black gems. This is the board you want to see. The black is also on the side here, so we can blow up the whole board again. Either side really. We'll go ahead and go on this one. The other thing you want to do, because black gem is his primary, put every column break you can on. Make sure every black gem has a column break. And I think reds is his secondary. Go with his secondary next, and then I don't know what his third is, because I haven't looked that deeply into it. So now we can blow up the whole board. And this should be a much better hit. That was 24 million. Now you're looking more like closer to 50, 55 at gold. This is a 100% strap with no plates. That's kind of nice, right? You're in that range where, okay, now we're talking, right? Like no plates, potentially hitting that hard at gold. So the Yeet plate obviously is the major one. But let's do not major first. Let's just do the Devil's Drip first, because I think more people have a Devil's Drip than a Yeet. I think. This, every time you make 7 or more column break gems, make 7 times multiply gems of strength 7. Let's see what that hits with. It's going to have less impact than the Yeet plate for sure. for sure. So we're going to use it first because it's less impactful. That's the main reason. So let's just go ahead and chuck our 22 random. Another beautiful board. Couldn't ask for better, really. It's exactly what you want to see. We don't necessarily want to cover our multiplies up if possible, so we luck out there. We don't have to. And then let's just go about this. Because there's no Yeet plate in action, multiplies actually are not as good as column breaks, damage-wise. You can see, what's that, 1.7? Oh, actually, I'm wrong. It doesn't scale the same way you'd think, so dead wrong. All right. Don't listen to me. So let's, we'll just do, still want to blow up the whole board, so let's go like this. Interesting. So that's 34 million. Puts you up to like 70 plus at gold. Oh yeah, I didn't switch those trainers, so let's do that. Especially since we're getting multiply gems on the board. That's kind of, excuse me. That's kind of strange. 1500%. That must not scale like everything else, to be honest. I didn't play it with the plate yet. I didn't bother putting the plate on. Generally, I play them, get a feel for it, and then toss the plates on. So that's my initial response to the damage difference, which is not expected. So in that case, if you're using the JD drip, I would totally switch this out to Rowan, and I don't have a good Rowan here because it's a silver account, but Powerhouse Rowan for his percentage multiply damage because it applies, and then we're going to use a zombie coach instead of Drew. We're going to keep McDonough because we do want a bunch of those column breaks so we can make sure we blow up the whole board or as much of the board as possible, you know? This must be in use. I use Rowan a lot, so he probably is in use. You could also use like Sheik for 156% column break gem damage, which we'll try to. I'm gonna experiment a little bit with this with the plate on. Because without the plate, oh yeah, and he's not gonna show up as being a coach because it's nothing that says we make multiplies. So he should be hiding here somewhere. There we go. Multiply gems do 50% more. And then, so ideally it would be black, but that's definitely a more rare zombie, so we'll just come to whichever is the first zombie we see that's not rare. That works. All right. Let's take a look at that. Because what was it, like 1.7 mil on the multiply on a black gem, so hopefully one lands on it. Another decent board. Not as many black gems as we'd like, though. So let's just go ahead and throw the 20 random out first. If we're lucky, one will land on a black gem. So we can check. Yeah. And 2 million. So you can see the trainers do work. So they're 200k bigger. So there's that. But we have less of these on the board, so I don't know that it's necessarily better. Since we have less gems, but probably. You know what? Also, since we decided the multiplies are bigger, we need a cross break across the top row. Nope. Yes, top row. Let's do this one since it's on a loot box gem. We'll take this one so we can blow that up. And then let's leave the black gems alone and let multiplies hopefully land on them and not on... We're pivoting here. Pivot! Bonus points if anyone knows what that's from. So it didn't work out quite as well as planned. Didn't go on that black gem, but you know. Let's see what we get. We got like 35 the last time with those trainers. This was less damage. Using the multiply trainers was less damage. It could be partially the board. It's really hard to say. So those worked out worse. And then now let's try it with a column break gem trainers instead. So let's put Iron Sheik on here. Instead of keep Farouk. You could also use Julius because he's 75%, but obviously Iron Sheik is much, much harder, and he's also easier to have. They're bigger column break gem damage. And again, this account is in gold, so Some of them, like Lyra's only 125%, but we'll put her on a coach, and she's 200% when she's buffed. I know I saw Sheik. Brawn Breaker's flat. We don't want that. There he is. Okay. And then let's go Lyra here. Let me set this. Gem damage. She should be near the top. All right, so let's give this one a whirl and see how this looks. Then we'll throw the Yeet plate on. We can do stuff with this. That works. Definitely big boost there. They're 941k from where they were, which was like 800. So Sheik definitely is nice there. We're gonna go this row because the multiply is on a column break, so we're gonna go there. And then let's just make sure we get all the black gems. Whatever. Do it like this because that seemed to work out well the last time. So let's keep rolling with that, and then let's blow up the board. Of course, there's always the danger you don't have a black gem on the edge and then you can't blow up the entire board. And you can see again 34 million. So you're probably realistically, I feel like this setup, or the first one, interestingly enough, with all generates, are the better of the two. Multiply ones don't really scale that way seemingly well comparatively. Although granted, my Rowan isn't as big as he could be. So yeah, now let's take a look with the Yeet plate. That's where it starts to hit really hard. I sort of run into a problem with Nash. It's super cool because he's an old poster that can hit hard, an old card. And you add 100%, 1000% more damage on this with this. And that also buffs the multiply gems. So it's really cool because he's an older one that can hit hard, but Striker is extremely loaded. So even as hard as he's going to hit here, it's not necessarily super quick, right? So that's my only issue, as it were, with Nash. And you can see 3.1 million, 1.13. The multipliers scale really nicely with the Yeet plate, and we're going to proc it again. So now we really want them to go on gems since they're scaling so big. So let's leave those black gems and red gems open since they're some of his better ones. But you can just see, like, even if you're going quickly, that's not super fast, but it is very cool. And I forgot to put one there because I'm stupid. Whatever, it's fine. And there, I messed that up. That's my fault, guys. We'll run it again. Still, that was 63 million. It'd be like 125, even messing it up. So the point being, with that, you're going to hit ridiculously hard. This is using, back to, you know, I mean, like, in this case, I feel like the multiply trainers probably work better once you put the Yeet plate on. Again, not that it super matters with this setup. So really, my question is, once you get to this setup, and this is where I want to go back to the generate, how does he do with just 2 clicks without all the choosing? Is it possible? And again, I haven't tried this because I haven't put all the plates on. Because this moveset is just going to hit ridiculously hard, right? There's no question. It'll take some time, but it'll hit super hard. But if we use all of the chuckers, is the amount of column breaks we throw out with 1 proc enough potentially to win quickly at gold? That's kind of more what I'm interested in. Me personally. I've shown the other stuff because I think that's what most people will be interested in. And the answer is probably no, because, you know, you're going to have to try and figure out a column. It's not going to hit the multiplies. So I just don't think it's going to happen. But let's do, this is one of the better ones. So let's just, oops, that was the wrong move. I'm not going to proc it because I just want to see how this hits. Sorry. Then we'll come back and I'll do a in-between version. That's fast, but should still hit hard. Yeah, see, that just won't work. There's definitely, you're definitely not going to want to run him with the 2-click kind of scenario. But that's okay. You don't have to, right? Like, Not everything needs to be about necessarily speed. It should also be about fun too. And a lot of people love Kevin Nash. It's a really cool looking gear and all of that jazz. So let's set it up and do it proper once for everybody, at least. And then I'll also use the multiply trainers in one of these. So because you only need to do 7 to get it to proc, you could speed it up potentially where you're just doing enough to proc it, right? You could stop here and save yourself some clicks. It wouldn't be the end of the world either way. You know, and there'd be nothing wrong with that. Also, I think we put out so many gems, there is not room left for multiplies everywhere. Again, that hit for 62 mil. You're looking at like probably 130 million at gold. It's a hit. It's a smack. So let's try the multiply trainers. Actually, let me run this one more. Because again, I think like enough people have Nash and are interested in this, it's probably worth the time. Where there's that. So we have 22, and let me do the math on this. 22 and 14. And when I say math, I mean calculator. 22 and 14 gives us 36 plus 14 gives us 50. So we want to not choose one gem with this setup. So we would remove Hall, and then we would fill up the whole board except for one item. So that's the best way to run it. Hall for a multiply person would be the way to run this for maximum board fillage and damage. I think that's the sweet spot. Yep. We're going to set this up here, and then we want multiplies on gems, so let's just go whatever. It's just takes too long for me. Not that one. And of course, the one gem it didn't go on was a black gem. That's funny. Uh, 64 million. So that's pretty good. Now let's try that sweet spot with one of the multiplies. We'll go back to Rowan instead of Hall. I kind of want to try that. Yeah, let's go to Sammy too in case I do something dumb. Always a very real chance of that. The really cool thing though is he's quite good and hits really hard on an older card. If you have extra, excuse me, you have extra Yeet and JD drips, or just Yeets, because you can run this 100%. We'll run it once without the JD drip as well for you guys. And we'll put Iron Sheik where Hall is potentially. Nah, we don't need to. We'll keep it this way. Or whatever. I don't know. Words are hard. So this will happen. I'm glad this happened. So there's one column we're not going to be able to break because the 1x6 doesn't line up. We're going to make it this one over here. So let's make sure no multiplies land there. And now we have like dealer's choice to put this wherever we want. Looks like we only lose one column break here. So let's do that. And then we can ensure they all go on black gems now by doing this. So trying to make up for it. Apparently I needed to click one more because I forgot that we took all off. Like the brilliant, brilliant man I am. And 66 million. You can see changing from Hall to what's-his-face really worked out nicely. We popped for 66 to Rowan and it would be better. So, I mean, honestly, I think, you know, you throw a 150 strap, you get gold, you have an increased trainer on Rowan, you're going to do like 150 mil kind of thing with this, right? So now let's go back to the one I'm actually showing on the screen and remove the drip, the JD drip, and just see what we do with the plain old Yeet. Because 152 is a lot. And just for the record, like, I think this is completely playable. I think this is very good. I don't think it moves him anywhere near the upper echelon of strikers. However, MP gear, if they're going to do steel cage crap, is very useful. Also, it can be very useful for showdown. So even with all that being said, even if he might not be the fastest, there is good usage for it. And the kind of the point I'm going for here with him is that, and again, this is a horrible, horrible board, so we'll run this one again, is that there's stuff you can do, right? That's the main takeaway for me, is there's stuff you can do with him, and he has the potential to be useful, right? And good, and his gear is reasonably priced on the prize wall at 5,000 currency. And that, you see, we hit for 29 million, so I think just a Yeet, 60 million on a bad board, 60, so that like 65, somewhat achievable. So I think you do want the full combo on him, really. But that was a bad board to make it look or be everything that it can be. So I think you do want everything. And then your trainers, I really like the balance we had on the run before this one with Rowan, Farouk. We should do one without McIntyre as well, but it's fine. You could play around with McIntyre over a zombie, especially if you have the zombie, and I'm drawing a blank on which one that adds black multiply gems. I hate it when I do that. I want to say it's Zombie LA. There we go. And you can also do this first if it works better for your head, and do the choose first. And that would probably be the better way of doing it with the JD drip, honestly, because then you know you're getting a column with no multiplies on it. So that's honestly probably the better way of playing it. This isn't my normal gameplay. I didn't play him on his rework. I didn't care for him on the rework. I do think the gear makes him much, much more interesting. And I should have... I'm talking, and I should have put it on that one. But I didn't, because I'm talking. But still, you can see 32 mil, so you could get potentially up to 70 mil with this. Anyway, this has went on a really long time, longer than I intended. I'm actually super tired today. I hope you guys like this video. I'm not sure it's my best work, to be honest. My whole point, though, to get across was if you have all the stuff for him already, then I think maybe the gear on this price wall for 5K isn't a bad pick. If you don't have all the stuff, if you don't have an extra drip, JD drip, if you don't have an extra Yeet plate, I think the 5,000 at that point then, probably kind of a waste, especially considering there's 300 Brawn Breaker shards here. So like if you don't have Brawn Breaker, don't get this gear, right? But if you're looking for something fun to mess around with, and you got a bunch of stuff, then you know what? You could do worse than take this gear. It's decent. But really, it's everything that makes him good, and you need everything. And by good, I mean makes him hit hard. He's still not fast, but he is fun if you like that kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share, because that really helps me out. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Good luck out there, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's been a busy week for me, Mania weekend. So watch Mania, enjoy it. I know I'm going to.